please be seated. Good morning. Let's try it again. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Good morning, class of 2023. Welcome parents, grandparents, trustees, faculty, staff, special friends, and students. At this time, I'd like to ask our faculty and staff to please stand. Faculty and staff, it's been a wonderful year. I remain humbled to work alongside you every day. Thank you for your selfless devotion, your passion, and your compassion. And thank you for shaping the minds and hearts of the class of 2023. Can we give our faculty and staff a round of applause? Would our Board of Trustees please stand? Trustees, Chuck? Thank you for all that you do to lead our efforts in governance and our strategic efforts in shaping the direction of the school. I appreciate your support and want to thank you. Can we give our trustees a round of applause, please? Well, seniors, good morning. Today is your day. We celebrate you. You have served thousands of hours community service. Some of you have made business pitches. Some of you are Eagle Scouts. Some of you have piloted a plane. You're National Merit finalists. One of you I know has built a bike. You've won state championships. You've performed on stage. You have done so much. 34 of you will continue your education in the great state of North Carolina. 43 of you will matriculate to over 20 states, including Canada, from Tennessee to Georgia to Colorado to California to New York. You're going all over the country, and we're so proud of you. You've shared your individual and collective talents with us. You've impressed us in the classroom and outside the classroom, but mostly we appreciate your friendship. During the senior alumni lunch, I bragged about how, I told you, we brag about how much you've learned at GDS. And I just want to remind you that we learned so much from you. As adults, we learn our mistakes, our successes, and we thank you for everything that you've taught us. You now have the tools ready for college. You're ready. You have a few things you need to get out of the way, though. There are some immediate challenges that many of you will face in college. One being how to fold a fitted sheet, how to navigate the best Uber Eats and late night delivery pizza deals, and then finally, how to finesse that perfect answer when someone asks you, "What's your major? What are you going to do the rest of your life?" Aside from those challenges, you have the tools you need, not just to do college, but to conquer college, to think deeply, to take classes off the beaten path, and to approach people and problems with an open mind. The world needs you. The world needs you to go out and be the constructive contributors that we've taught you to be. You hold an immense power within yourselves to change the world for better. I know that sounds like a pie-in-the-sky request, go change the world. It's easy to feel insignificant and small when you're one person standing in a world so large, so very connected, but at the same time also disconnected at times. But let me remind you that history has showed us individuals can change the world. It takes some compassion, it takes creativity, and mostly it takes courage, and I know that you have that. The world is a beautiful place, but we need you to roll up your sleeves and tackle the problems that face us. The exploding world of AI needs your attention. Cancer and disease research needs your scientific brains. Environmental challenges needs your brain power. We need you to dismantle the hatred and the isms that are in the world, like racism and anti-Semitism. We need you to tackle the phobias that we see posted all over the headlines in the newspapers. Every one of you belongs at GDS, but you have to know, unfortunately, not every community in the world is one of belonging. And remember, changing the world doesn't require the loudest voice. It doesn't mean we need social media banter, and we don't need global movements. And it doesn't mean what you think and value is the only way. We've taught you that. The call-out culture isn't going to get it done. The world is and will always be a system of various beliefs and values. The problem is when the beliefs and values translate to hate. So we taught you that with small acts of kindness in your everyday lives, you can conquer that. And when I look at you, class of 2023, I am optimistic. GDS's fourth grade ceremony was last Wednesday evening in the Sloan Theater. Fourth grade student Sully Graham was asked to share what superpower he would take to fifth grade as a new middle schooler next year. He said he would take understanding as his superpower because he feels like the world would be a better place if we all just understood each other a little better. Class of 2023, may your journey to change the world be filled with purpose, joy, and unwavering commitment to make an impact. Go be you and go make the world better in your own way. At this time, I'd like to welcome Director of the Upper School, Ryan Cook, who's going to say a few words, or who's going to introduce our student speakers. Thank you.
Good morning to you all. I have the absolute honor of introducing our two student speakers this morning. Both of these graduates were elected by their peers to serve on this year's Student Council, and they have led their fellow students with grace and honor. First, we will hear from Logan Hayes, our Executive Student Council President. He will be followed by Rishal Sood, the Senior Class President. Please join me in welcoming Logan to the podium.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. Parents, teachers, friends, and class of 23, it is an honor to be here speaking before you today. I know the last month or two, or maybe 10, have felt like somewhat of a blur. At least that is the excuse I was using to deny my so-called senioritis. However, in one of the seemingly endless feedback forums or alumni questionnaires, I came across one question that stuck out to me. What has GDS taught you? At first, it seems easy to say that it has taught me what an integral is, or it tried to teach me the intricacies of angular momentum. But that could be a shared experience of high schoolers across the country, and not specific to just GDS. If you ask those of us who were here this same question in lower school, we might have told you that GDS taught us how to read the hands on a clock. Or in middle school, we might have told you that learning about tectonic plates. But again, this is not specific enough to what GDS has actually taught us. In actuality, GDS has taught us the importance of hard work, the impact of respect, and the art of leadership. While these have been a recurring theme throughout the class of 23's time on this campus, it has never more so been brought to light than in the last month in which we have all been working on our senior projects. I know the objective of this speech is not to pass on advice to my peers. That is the job of our much more capable and qualified commencement speaker. However, please allow me to share with you a piece of advice that one of the medical reps I encountered during my internship shared with me in preparation for college. Forget the backup plan. Forget your plan B and your contingencies. Whatever you want to do, go get it done. If what you desire requires you to be in the top 5%, then only focus on that top 5%. There always will be a backup and a chance to regroup. But each moment you spend worrying about safely doing something you don't truly want is a moment wasted that could have been spent ensuring the fruition of your dreams. You may have heard advice similar to this before. I know I certainly have. However, it has never felt more true than it does now as we face this new chapter. I want to make it clear that when giving me this advice, he made sure to stress that this did not mean throw caution to the wind and totally forget about any backup plan. The intent is to stress that the backup plan is just not your primary goal. Because of these diplomas we are about to receive and the many lessons GDS has taught us, we always will have a backup plan. It is because of this concrete security that we have the ability to heed his advice and focus solely on our top goals. I may be biased, but I think no one can deny that our class of 23 is full of ambition. go-getters, and achievers, who know what those extra hours of studying textbooks or doing reps in the gym or on the athletic field can provide. Since the very beginning, I have heard our teachers say the same thing about our class, many of those same teachers whom are sitting here today. And teachers, on behalf of the entire class of 23, I would like to thank you for all of your dedication and commitment to us through the years. Your passion for your subjects is contagious, and the lessons you have taught us transpire far beyond the classroom. And parents, far and above, thank you to all of you. It is ultimately because of you that we are here today, and we are truly grateful for all that you sacrificed for us. And yes, I'll admit it, we will miss you next year. But please know that you have done the absolute best to prepare us for what is to come, not by ensuring that we can do higher math, but by putting us through a school that teaches us deeper values and gives us the ability to focus on Plan A. Knowing that if for some reason we do not succeed, we always have a concrete, solid base supporting us. Class of 23, it has been an honor to grow alongside all 76 of you these past years. From the times when 23 was just a label and some far-off imagination to now, I have enjoyed every moment with you. While this is likely the last time we will all be together, I take solace in knowing that we will all have a connection to each other, no matter how long it has been. Whether it be in the theater, the classroom, the stage, or the banners that hang around this gym, we have left our mark on this campus. That is something nobody can deny. I wish you all the absolute best of luck as we enter our new chapter, and I'm always honored to say that I graduated with you as Greensboro School's class of 2023. It is now my pleasure to introduce the senior class president, Rachel Sud.
Thank you, Logan. Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well on this fine Friday morning. My name is Rachel Sud, and I have been given the immense honor of being one of this year's graduation speakers. When I was in kindergarten, we were given white t-shirts that had a Bengal logo and had the caption, Class of 23 on them. Back then, I was too young, or I probably didn't care, with what the number 23 truly meant. Later on, it became incorporated into our emails, with grade-wide emails addressed to the Class of 23. I'm sure you guys know this. Again, while I had come to learn by then what it was the year that we graduate, I didn't realize the significance of that number. However, as I speak before all of you today, I think I know now what that number represents. The number 23 represents all 77 of us. It is such an important number that some of us even put it in our Instagram bios. That Insta bio is a sacred place after all, so clearly 23 is an important number. It is part of the number that we say to our relatives and acquaintances when they ask us what year we graduate. However, what I find most interesting about the number 23 is that both Michael Jordan and LeBron James, two of the greatest ever players to play basketball, wore that on their jerseys. I personally am not opposed in saying that the class of 23 is alike to those two men. Please feel free to debate with me later. Personally speaking, whether I've known you for 13 years or if I've known you for 1, I can confidently say that everyone in our class has made me a better human being, in some aspect or another. And it is because of that fact that I'm truly indebted to all of you. In fact, I don't think it is an over-exaggeration to say that we have all affected each other in some sort of way with our positivity and because of how great and how unified our grade is. Whether it be something from the past, like having to make wax candles in the freezing cold, throw back to 4th grade if y'all remember that, to something recent, like celebrating state championships. Shout out the basketball team. And the golf team, I do apologize. We have stood tall through the test of time and never wavered in our collective harmony, which is something that I've come to both appreciate and rely upon. Never have I thought poorly of our grade, because I know what the integrity and strength of the class of 23 is. Never have I been ashamed to call myself a member of the class of 23, because I know what the potency and promise of this year's graduating class is. Most importantly, never have I wavered in my belief that the class of 23 will make its mark on both GDS and the next stop after GDS because of our combined traits of loyalty, dedication, and determination. These are but a few countless ways in which our grade can be described, all positive, of course. I'm sure that the source could help you find a few more, but for the time being, let's go with marvelous, flawless, stupendous. You get the idea. It is now time for our transition to the number 27 and for our gap year people, 28. This number is currently flooding our Instagram bios, replacing the number 23. While this new number will come to represent us for the next 4 years, the number 23 will never cease to live on. We each are a memento of 23, and that, my friends, is a truly special thing. That everlasting connection will continue to thrive and well beyond this graduation day. Even when we are all retired and with kids and grandkids, if you so choose, we will always be the class of 23. To all those coming into this position of seniority with the class of 24 and beyond, I say good luck and enjoy every moment. The senior class is an integral part of GDS, and that responsibility should not be taken lightly and should be taken with a status eagerly awaited. I know that these upcoming grades will do a great job taking over the baton from us. As they say, it takes a village. Our village consists of the GDS faculty, staff, and our families. To all the faculty and staff, you have made GDS a monumental experience that will forever be in our hearts, and I thank you for that. To our families, thank you for always being there for us and supporting us through thick and thin. And lastly, to you guys. Man, I love all y'all so much. It really makes me emotional when I think about how this may be the last time I see many of you. Every single member in this graduating class is going to do amazing, amazing things in life. And while I know that many people say something like that as sort of like a cliche sort of ending, I genuinely believe this to be true, because I have interacted with all of you in some kind of way, and based on those interactions, I know as a class what we are capable of. To the class of 23, before we move up a couple digits into the next chapter of our lives, it's time for us to enjoy a well-deserved homework-free summer. Good luck to you all, and thank you.
Thank you. Greensboro Day School's class of 2020 completed their senior year when a global pandemic took hold of the world. Stay-at-home orders led to a temporary distance learning experience here for a few weeks, but the class of 2020 did not experience a normal graduation. So, in their honor, the class of 2020 Resilience Award is presented annually at graduation to a member of the senior class that demonstrates great resilience. Please welcome Jack Moody, a member of the class of 2020 and a current student at Wake Forest University, who will come up and present this award. Come on up, Jack.
All right. Good morning, graduates, families, faculty, and staff. My name is Jack Moody. Today, I have the honor of presenting the Class of 2020 Resilience Award to a student who has exhibited true determination. The recipient of this year's award faces each day with passion, curiosity, and perseverance. Around campus, he is known as a good friend, a deep thinker, and someone who loves to discuss and debate deep topics. He is also a true Renaissance man, an artist, a scholar, a rower, and a poet laureate. I'm honored to present this year's Class of 2020 Resilience Award to Jack Clodfelter.
The Founders Award is presented each year at graduation to a member of the graduating class who best exemplifies the characteristics of scholarship, sportsmanship, and leadership. Please welcome Gail Isaacson Bernstein, a member of GDS's class of 76, to present this year's Founders Award. She's also the daughter of one of the founders. Welcome, Gail.
Good morning. It is truly an honor and a privilege on behalf of the 14 founders of our school to present this year's Founders Award to one of the members of our senior class. So here we go. Passionate, kind, disciplined, honorable, positive, and inspiring are words that are often used when describing this year's Founders Award recipient. Corey Stevenson described this student as someone of great personal integrity and discipline. They commit wholeheartedly to their endeavors and have explored their passions with depth at GDS, while still taking a service orientation in their leadership roles. This student's list of accomplishments during their time at GDS has no end. A few highlights include serving on the Executive Student Council, being a member of the pep and jazz bands, and being an active member of our theater program. Trish Morris said the following about this student. Even as a freshman, when they spoke in assembly, they did so with a presence and a touch of authority without being condescending. He is a young man of character who sets an example as a person of integrity, courage, and moral fortitude. He maintains a stellar reputation by doing the work to achieve ambitious goals and maintaining personal responsibility. As a caring and compassionate soul, he is never too busy to lend a helping hand or offer a word of encouragement. This student is truly the embodiment of an officer and a gentleman. Sportsmanship, scholarship, and leadership are the essence of the Founders Award, and this year's recipient checks all the boxes. It is my pleasure to present this year's Founders Award to Logan Hayes.
Yesterday, during our closing faculty and staff luncheon, Pete Buxenbaum, lower school teacher, presented the James P. Hendricks Jr. Excellence in Teaching Award. We announced him yesterday, and at this time, I'd like to recognize him here at graduation. Sonny Willis, would you please stand? Congratulations, Sonny, on a well-deserved honor. Now it's time for our Distinguished Alumni Award. It is a well-known fact that Greensboro Day School alumni go on to do extraordinary things. In recognition of the excellent work and service accomplished by our alumni, the Greensboro Day School Alumni Association established the Distinguished Alumni Award back in 1991. This award is presented annually at graduation to an alumna or an alumnus who best exhibits at least one of the following qualities: an extraordinary service to the city of Greensboro, the state of North Carolina, or the United States of America, extraordinary distinction in one's field of specialization, an extraordinary service to society, and corresponding tangible benefits to fellow citizens. This year's recipient is Dr. Billy Reed, class of 1975. It is my pleasure and honor to share some of the highlights and accomplishments of Dr. Reed. Dr. Reed was the first African-American student to graduate from Greensboro Day School in 1975, the first graduating class of 12 members. That'd be pretty interesting. He was an academic scholar, a 3-sport star athlete, and a model citizen. Dr. Reed attended Mercer University, where he studied biology and pharmacy, and eventually earned his doctorate of pharmacy in 1984. A lifelong learner, he returned back to college in the 90s to receive an MBA from Kennesaw State University. Dr. Reed is currently the pharmacy manager of the Wellstar Pharmacy Network, a nationally recognized suburban nonprofit health system located outside of Atlanta, Georgia. And with nearly 40 years of experience in the healthcare industry, 30 plus of those years included progressive management experience at 3 nonprofit hospitals in the Atlanta area. Some of his most important work has focused on improving physician-patient relationships, strengthening staff relationships, overseeing the health system accreditation process, and improving quality assurances initiatives. An admired leader whose work led to extraordinary growth and performance in the healthcare industry, Dr. Reed has received numerous accolades for his work in innovation, program performance, and delivery services. Dr. Reed is also an active member in his community and has held various volunteer roles, including one as chairman of the board of Members First Credit Union. Dr. Reed and his wife, Chris, have 2 children, Alex and Nicole, and in his free time, if he has any, he and his Chris enjoy hiking and spin classes. During the call for nominations, the following comments were shared about Dr. Reed. When you inquire among his peers from GDS, you will get a strong sense of his character and personality and the impact he made on them in his first few years as a student at GDS. Since then, Billy has navigated a very successful career in the medical field in healthcare. His experience and character make him an ideal choice for this year's Distinguished Alumni Award. Dr. Reed, we congratulate you on your many outstanding achievements in the healthcare industry that have shaped and changed the lives of so many. GDS is honored to recognize you as our 2023 Distinguished Alumni. Will you please join me on stage? Can we give him a round of applause?
Good morning, good morning. First, I want to say hello to my wife, Chris, who's back at work and couldn't get off to be here with me. Hey, honey. Thank you, Michael Sumner and the Alumni Board for this award and honor. It's been 50 years since I first came to visit GDS, and a lot has changed. But some things have remained the same. The blue blazers and white trousers that you're wearing was decided by our class because we decided that we wanted to do something different from the traditional cap and gown. So you could blame us on this. But the quality of education here is superior to the public education system. When I first came here in 1975, transferring from Page High School, I was behind in the curriculum. The headmaster at that time suggested that I stay back a year to try to catch up, but I said no. That I stated that I would work hard to bridge the gap, and I did. My uncle, Clarence McAdoo, was employed here as a bus driver in 1973, and he spoke very highly of the school, and he suggested that I speak with Coach Lynn Edwards about GDS and the possibility of transferring from Page. Coach Edwards visited my home and spoke with my parents, and I decided to visit. The first person that I met was Wayne Robinson, who was studying with all his books and notes in the study hall, and that impressed me very much. And we discussed student life here at the school. I felt like I had a chance to succeed here, but the ultimate goal was to get accepted to go to college, because I am the first college graduate in my family. 50 years later, I want to thank Wayne for his role, and I will always be grateful to him and Coach Edwards, and we're still friends. Also, I want to acknowledge my classmates who supported me in my short tenure. I would not have graduated without their help. We worked together in class, on projects, and we participated in sports. My class of 12. GDS was founded in 1970. A few years prior to this, in 1964, Congress passed the Civil Rights Act, shortly followed by the Voting Rights Act in 1965. In 1971, busing was implemented in order to end segregation. My parents attended segregated schools, and I was segregated in the first grade, going to a school that was 30 minutes away from my house, even though Joyner Elementary was right down the street. I want to pause for a moment and read the mission statement for GDS. The mission is to develop the intellectual, ethical, and interpersonal foundations, students need to be constructive contributors to the world. This statement can be used by any higher educational institution, and I applaud them for this. There wasn't any pressure on GDS to open their doors to minorities, but they did. And they continue to offer a diversified environment for learning in order for their students to graduate and contribute to this world. My career in healthcare has been fulfilling over the past 40 years, and I've seen a lot of changes, both positive and negative, but overall, patients have a better opportunity to survive and thrive. And if any of you have any interest at all in healthcare, please contact me and we can have a discussion. And if I can't answer your questions, I will find someone who will. Never take for granted the education that you've received here and how you are now more prepared to take steps to achieving your goals. Never forget your classmates because they will become lifetime friends. And do not stop thanking your family for everything that they've done to get you here. Yes, I am the first Black graduate of GDS, but other students such as Wayne, who were here before me, laid the path to follow. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. Can you give him another round of applause, please? It is now my pleasure to introduce this year's graduation speaker. It's a tradition at GDS to have an alumni speaker be the graduation speaker. Today's graduation speaker is George Saab. George is a graduate of GDS's class of 1985. He lives in Palo Alto, California with his wife, Johanna, his son, Alex, age 13, and daughter, Alina, age 18. George is currently the Senior Vice President at Java at Oracle. He leads the development of a Java programming language, which he helped pioneer at Sun Microsystems in the mid-90s. Java has been used for a vast range of applications, from Minecraft to powering most transactional internet sites, to controlling the NASA Mars rover Spirit. For many high schoolers, it's the best-known language of choice for the College Board's AP Computer Science class. George's group includes foremost experts in computer language design, security networking, concurrency, graphics, and they're located in over 20 countries. He has a front seat to what's happening in the world of AI today, and has been actually for decades. George, it's an absolute pleasure to welcome you back to GDS. Welcome home, and thank you for sharing your alumni words of wisdom. Come on up, George.
Distinguished faculty, parents, family and friends, and to the class of 2023, I am delighted and honored to be with you this morning for this momentous occasion. A few months ago, Head of School Catlett approached me to ask if I would give this year's commencement address. It seemed like a reasonable request. After all, I'm frequently asked to speak to large groups. However, it seemed to me that this might not be the occasion to break out my 3-hour crash course on Java programming. So I did what any self-respecting high-tech executive or high school student in the spring of 2023 would do. I consulted ChatGPT. I entered the prompt, write a personal and compelling commencement address for a 2023 high school graduation. The response was long, it was rambling, it was extremely repetitive and formulaic, and it began, as an AI language model, I do not have personal experiences. So I threw out the AI-generated speech, and instead I consulted the real expert, my 18-year-old daughter, Alina. Her sage advice was that it could be interesting to hear how someone who grew up in Greensboro, North Carolina, and went to Greensboro Day School had ended up in charge of the evolution of arguably the world's most popular programming language. She said I should describe a bit about the path I've taken and any lessons that I learned along the way. Now, at this point, you are probably all imagining that I'm going to tell you all about all the math and science that I took, but that would be kind of predictable, wouldn't it? All right, so when I went to GDS, the guidance counselor said to us, you know, it might be a good idea when you're applying to college to have an idea of the subject you'd like to study. Well, a lot of my friends knew exactly what they wanted to study. I had no idea. In fact, it's actually kind of the opposite. I had too many ideas. I liked pretty much all of the subjects that I was studying. But one that I really liked and that kind of stood out to me and felt like something I wanted to do more of was Latin. So my first year at college, I took Latin, I took Greek and Roman history, and I took ancient philosophy. As a sophomore, I took more Latin. But I also took some medieval and Renaissance topics, a little bit of philosophy, a really wonderful course on Arthurian legends. And while this made me eminently qualified to quote Alan Rickman as the evil villain Hans Gruber in the contemporary movie Die Hard, when he cites the benefits of a classical education, it really was not exactly the slam dunk background for a career in high tech. My summers were not much help either. After my first year, I worked at the Piedmont Indoor Tennis Club, mostly trying to improve my serve. And after sophomore year, I went to England, where I worked evenings in the pub, and during the day, I sold designer women's clothing in an exclusive boutique, where I was the first and, as far as I know, only man to ever work. Now, the parents in the audience at this point are probably starting to get a little nervous, wondering if I ever got a sense of direction, but hang with me, I promise it all works out. So by the second half of my junior year, I realized that all of the classes that I had taken were kind of bringing me forward in the history of mankind and how we think. And while it was cool to go from Plato and Aristotle forward to St. Augustine, Thomas Aquinas, and Averroes, I wondered where all of this led us and what do people think now? So I went all in, taking a full load of courses in modern and analytical philosophy, which for me meant logic, philosophy of language, and philosophy of mind. Now the parents are getting really, really nervous. Will he ever study something useful? Luckily for me and our parents, most universities have these things called distributional requirements. Basically, they try to make sure that you come out with a well-rounded education. So for people who study STEM subjects, that means actually ensuring that you can read and write. In my case, it meant that in order to graduate in my final semester, I needed to take some kind of STEM course. And I found just the thing. A graduate level course in artificial intelligence. Now, this subject interested me because even back then, there were debates about whether computers were capable of thought. And I knew what philosophers said about this, but I wanted to learn more about what computer scientists were trying to claim so that I could make up my own mind. I could not enroll in that course because there was a long list of prerequisites, none of which I had taken. So I went to the professor in the summer and I asked if he would share the reading list. I said I'd try to get through it, and if I was able to, I'd come back to him at the beginning of term. Now, he warned me that this was a difficult and advanced course. He looked really skeptical, but he reluctantly agreed. See, what I knew and he didn't was that I had spent many afternoons in Mr. Gilbert's computer club in middle school here at GDS. Now, admittedly, we spent most of our time playing a game called Lemonade Stand, But we also learned how to write simple programs on one of the very first personal computers called the Apple II. This was relevant, right? I mean, how hard could it be? I spent my next 2 weeks on vacation in Florida, laying by the pool and reading computer science textbooks. To my delight, it turned out that the reading focused on a language called Prolog, which was short for Programming in Logic. It built on first-order predicate logic, something that I had learned all about in my philosophy courses. You wrote proofs that the computer would treat as a program. This was going to be fun. So I went back to the professor on the first day of classes, and I was steeled to argue my case and argue my way into the class. But to my surprise, he kind of looked at me really absent-mindedly and almost a little guiltily, in a way that said, "I think I recognize you. You're probably some grad student that I'm supposed to know who you are, but I can't quite place." Without question, he signed my ad drop form, and I was in. With the focus on logic, the computer science students found the course excruciating. But for me, it came very naturally, and I aced it. Even ended up tutoring several of the computer science students. So that's how I managed to graduate with a degree in philosophy and a single course in computer science. For anyone keeping score, that was exactly the kind of college degree that would immediately prompt the question, what the heck are you gonna do with that? Here's what I did. I wanted to live abroad, and I went back to the UK. I looked at job ads, I went to job fairs, I applied for everything. One day, after hours of walking around a job fair at the Hammersmith Odeon, as I was tramping across the parking lot, I saw a magazine on the ground, and I picked it up to have something to read on the tube. We didn't have smartphones and social media back then. In the back of that magazine, I spied an ad from a small company in Oxford, what we now would call a startup, that made a Prolog compiler. They were looking for a VP of sales. Now, the ad said that the successful applicant would be a seasoned executive with over 10 years of sales experience. I didn't have that, but I mean, how hard could it be? I gave them a call. After a brief discussion, the CEO decided that I wasn't his VP of sales. But he was so impressed by my confidence and persuasiveness that he decided to create a position for me. I would be a sales support programmer, answering customer calls, writing demos, and eventually becoming the technical sidekick for the VP once they were hired. Now, here's a little secret they don't tell you when you go to college. In many fields, a few years after you graduate, no one cares what your major was. They care more about what you've done since graduating. After nearly a year in the UK, I was ready to come back to the US. I contacted the premier Prolog company, who were based in Mountain View, California. Again, based on my confidence and persuasiveness, and by then, nearly an entire year of experience in the field, they hired me right away. This was a real job at an established company with real customers. Scary, but how hard could it be? I packed all of my belongings into my VW GTI. I made sure I had a full tank of gas and my cassette tapes on the passenger seat. I merged onto I-40 West, and I kept driving. After about 5 years at that company, some of my former colleagues who had gone on to, among other places, Xerox PARC, the legendary research lab responsible for everything from windowing interfaces to the computer mouse, called me up and said, "Hey, we're doing a startup. It's based on a new language, and we need exactly the skills that you have. It's just like when we got started with Prolog, except people actually like this language. It's called Java." Most of the computer languages that were widely used at that point had been around for at least a decade or two. Thinking you could start a new one and have it succeed was a terrifying leap of faith. On the other hand, How hard could it be? All right, I found that working life is a bizarre mix of opposing forces. On the one hand, there's imposter syndrome, whereby you're constantly afraid people will figure out that despite your fancy-sounding degree, you really know nothing. On the other hand, we have the Dunning-Kruger effect, whereby people who really do know nothing about particular topics are absolutely convinced they know everything, and they're more than happy to share their naive opinions broadly. Over the years, I've been lucky enough to work with some of the world experts in the field of computer science and programming language design. They came from all kinds of backgrounds, from multiple PhDs in physics or math to lowly humanities grads like myself, and some of the best never went to college at all. What they all have in common is that without exception, they're some of the most humble and curious people you will ever meet. They enter every discussion with every person with the desire to learn and grow. They're generous with their own knowledge because they're more interested in solving problems than in being seen to be the one to have done so. Being among these great minds allowed me to learn all I needed to design and implement software. It taught me not to be afraid to admit that I didn't know something, but instead to rejoice at the opportunity to learn something new. Many of the hardest problems in technology, and I think other fields, are not actually technology problems at all. They're actually people problems. And over time, I found that my liberal arts degree was not a hindrance, but a huge benefit. It gave me the background I needed to listen, understand, and analyze, to construct persuasive explanations, and yes, sometimes win arguments. It positioned me to explain technology to non-technical people and not to get wound around the axis of detail when it was irrelevant to the discussion. Study topics that interest and captivate you, not just what you think will be useful. You will learn more, and you will be surprised how many times the interesting things turn out to be of more lasting value than the supposedly useful things. My path has brought me joy and success precisely because it is that. It's my path. So to be clear, I'm not saying you should study philosophy, but I am saying you should study and engage with things you find interesting, the types of things you can talk about and not even notice the time flying by, or the things you'd be excited and proud to tell a bunch of GDS seniors about when you're asked to come back here and give the graduation speech in 2060. So I want to encourage you, no matter how much you learn and how expert you become in your field of choice, stay humble, stay curious. And when life presents you with seemingly unsurmountable challenges, look in the mirror and ask yourself, how hard could it be? Finally, I did notice a few folks kind of shaking their heads at some of the amazing coincidences that seem to propel me through crucial transitions. The computer science course, the magazine ad, connections at the start of Java. Maybe it seems frustrating or unfair that someone should succeed seemingly based on luck, rather than a carefully calculated causal link of steps painstakingly cultivated over many years. But I believe that the purpose of education is to place yourself in a position where you can take the most advantage of luck. To quote Coleman Cox, I'm a great believer in luck. The harder I work, the more of it I seem to have. To the graduates of the Greensboro Day School, class of 2023, go forth, study things you find interesting, work hard, and prepare to get lucky. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Would you join me in another round of applause for George Saab? And now what you've really been waiting for, it's time for the awarding of the diplomas. Mr. Cook, would you please join us up here?
It is that time. Joining us on stage today is Chuck Keeley, board chair and GDS alumnus from class of 81. I would also like to invite Trish Morris, our most tenured faculty member, to join us on the stage for the awarding of the diplomas. Mr. Keeley and Ms. Catlett, it is my absolute pleasure to confirm for you this morning that each member of the class of 2023 who is sitting on stage with us today has met the requirements established by Greensboro Day School for graduation, and so is qualified to receive their diploma.
Thank you, Mr. Cook. On behalf of the Greensboro Day School Board of Trustees, I am proud to congratulate the class of 2023. Acting under the delegation of powers by the Board of Trustees, I authorize you, Mr. Cook, to confer the diplomas. Mr. Williams, I would like to invite you to the podium to read the names of our graduates as they cross the stage to receive their diplomas. Seniors, please stand.
Jabbar Adini Akintayo. Adam Joseph Arnold. Joseph Blanken Bachman. Allison Hannah Bensimone. Jacob David Bensimone. Sarah Margaret Brady. Abby Claire Carlson. Reed Carrier. John Bingham Clodfelter. Alec J. Cohen. Alexander Michael Connors. Pietro Antonino Criscuolo. Harris Eugene Deloach IV. Anshu Dharamendra Desai. Matthew Christopher Dewey. Jekun Bill Dong. Yuri Fung. Paige Ann Gillette. Alessandra Giovanetti Ridaura. Nicole Farron Grady. William Seth Green. Elizabeth Ashley Green. Anna Grace Griffin. Logan Andrew Hayes. Samantha Cass Head. Jasmine Kamala Jackson. Yuhong Max Jiang. Carter Bryson Jones. Jacob Skaggs Jones. Andrew William Just. Kablai T. Khan. Courtney Ann Kim. Minsu Kim. Alexander John King. Ada Margaret Kirkland. Elliot Marshall Kirkland. Kai Lewis. Yuhong Stephen Lee. Anchi Lin. Grant Richard Lindsay. Jackson Charles Love. Clara Grace McCartney. Claire Ann McDowell. Sarah Page McKee. Adrian Jordan Michael Moody. May Caroline Moody. Hampton Walker Munsey. Alexandra Michelle Nikiforov. Kendall Carol Parr. Cole Thomas John Percival. Stuart McMurray Presson. Mohammed Ajwad Qureshi. Julius Lamond Reese Jr. Walter James Rimbach. Ashana Monet Robinson. Emily Ann Robinson. Aaron Rodriguez. Annika Cadence Austin Rogers. Jack Williams Samet. Andrew Nathan Satterfield. Charlotte May Saunders. Gustavo Soles Schrier. Sterling Edward Sharp. Adam Wyatt Shirley. Rishal Sood. Cameron James Spencer. Stanford Benjamin Stahl. Marguerite Louise Stanley. Elizabeth Reagan Sumner. Cole David Talbot. Peyton Elizabeth Wagner. Cynthia Wong. Catherine Seabrook Wingate. Adam Davis Weisgarver. Long Michelle Xia. Haochong Xu. Jaden Alexander Young.
Seniors, you have 2 items under your chair. One of them is a small departing gift from me, something that you read probably in lower school, but I think you'll find much more appropriate for your life right now. Leave that under your chair, but take it with you later. And right now, if you'll grab your cap and put that on, please. Help each other out if you need it. Okay, seniors, please stand. Friends, I present to you the class of 2023. Seniors, you will now move your tassels to the left, signifying you are official graduates of Greensboro Day School. Please stand and give them an applause. Please remain standing as we will sing the alma mater. Seniors, or should I now say alumni? Alumni, okay. Alumni. Congratulations, and thank you for your impact and legacy that you've had on Greensboro Day School and the entire community. As you begin to put the 2022-2023 school year behind you, please remember how proud we will always be of you. Thank you for all you've done to make us better educators and leaders. Please know that whenever you return, and we hope you return often, we will be here waiting for you to give you a big hug. And remember, once a bingle, always a bingle. Now it's time to tackle the world that's waiting for you. Families, our graduates and faculty and staff will now recess, and we would love for you to join us in our auxiliary gym. Seniors, congratulations to you all. Onward and upward. That's your cue.